Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today's video is going to be a makeup haul. I kind of came up with the idea after one of my flatmates suggested it because she came into my room on, I think it was like Sunday night, and we were just having a bit of a conversation, and she looked over and she saw how much makeup I had, and she was, I wouldn't really say shocked, but she was definitely intrigued at the makeup I had. So I kind of thought, why not do a makeup haul, kind of just like to show you guys all the stuff I have and what I use daily and what I use on special occasions and stuff like that. So I'm going to be doing like from primers to setting sprays. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so I'm pretty sure everyone knows what a primer is, so let's get straight into it. Now this one's quite an old school one, and this is one that Nikki suggested, I think it was back in 2015 or 16, one of the two, for like those kind of like dry but sensitive skin that kind of need a decent but cheap primer. So I went out and bought this as she suggested. This is the Nivea Men Sensitive Post Balm Shave, and I like using this kind of like around the outer portions of my face and kind of like to do my brows because it helps. It's like a tacky primer, so it helps lock your makeup there, like it sticks like it's supposed to. Now I get quite oily around here, so another primer I like to use, I kind of like to do a duo. So I use the Fentybeauty, it's the Soft Matte Pro Filter, and I love using this in my T-zone and again like around on my brows. Helps locks it all in place. It mattifies it, stops me from getting oily throughout the day because I tend to get oily specifically up around here, not so much here anymore, but I'd say more around my brow portion. I get really oily for some odd reason, and don't know why, I just do. But yeah, I love both of these primers. I would definitely recommend getting them. Okay, so next is foundation. Now I've got a little range because over the years I've wanted to try new foundations, and I've quite liked foundations, so I've stuck with them, or I've got more, or I haven't used them that often because I want to save them for best. So I'm going to go in for my first, which I've been using, I actually reviewed on this channel, is the Smashbox Studio Skin. As you can see, it's pretty much empty, so I'm almost like done with this bottle. I get this quite regularly actually. It's really good for like the summer months because like when you don't, like in the summer you don't really want to use a lot of powder, so you kind of want like a soft, dewy but also glowy skin. So I like using this with like basically no powder at all. Like I tend to use like a matte like concealer as well, just to go over it, just to mattify it a tiny bit, because when you're sweating and it's coming through the powder it just looks cakey, and you don't want that, and it clogs up your pores, and it's just not overall a good look. So definitely in summertime I like getting this like in a more of a tan shade, to look more bronzy, because you kind of don't want to look pale like 24/7. You kind of only really want to look pale during the winter months. Now another one that I actually only got last year that I tried out, I've never tried out any products, I buy the lipsticks from this brand for it. It's the M.A.C Pro Long Neutralizing Waterproof Foundation. I'm in the shade NC20. I went into Harvey Nicks last year for my birthday when I was in Edinburgh, and I got a shade match, and I got this because again I'd seen Nikki, she's like my main inspiration for half of these foundations I have. But yeah, I got this swatched, and it's my favourite foundation to wear like on a night out when you go clubbing because it lasts ages. It's such a beautiful foundation. It just, like, you want always that slick, smooth, Instagram, you know, beautiful skin, like, foundation. So I went with this, and this has never failed me once. Again, I got this back in July, and I haven't really got a new one since. So that kind of says a lot about how often I go out. But really good foundation for if you're wanting to wear it on a night out, for sure. My next foundation that I got, I would say sort of recently, again to do with Fentybeauty, is the Fentybeauty matte foundation, you know? Yeah, Pro Filter Soft Matte Foundation. I'm in the shade 150, and it's currently sold out nationwide, so I can't go and get more of this until it's back in stock, either online or in store. So I'm kind of not impressed with that. Like, I'm like the most common shade in the entire of the UK, and it's just like, why do I have to have such a common shade? Ugh. I got this matched when I was in Edinburgh in October because I stopped there on my journey to Carluke when I was going to Amsterdam, as pretty sure you've seen in my vlogs that I've been to Amsterdam. That was a good trip, and I wore this throughout the entire trip and I loved it so much. I'm like, see if I can see the line, I've got like such a small amount left in the bottle, so I'm like trying not to use it because it's such a pretty foundation and it's like my exact, like you can't get any closer than this. It's my exact skin match. It's like my skin put into a foundation and softened and made beautiful. It's just so weird, but I love it. The next foundation that I took a sample first before I tried it because it's like £30 and I didn't want to go out and buy it and be like, shit, this isn't my shade, or shit, I don't like it, it's not good for my skin. So yeah, I got in a little sample bottle. I got my shade match, the one that I thought was best for my skin tone because I kind of like more of a warm skin tone rather than a yellow skin like undertone. I hate that a lot of the time. It just makes me look really pale and ghastly and sick. So I prefer more of a pinky warm tone. So the foundation I'm talking about is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place foundation. Now I'm in the shade 1N2 and I'm wearing this right now and I love it. It's right now one of my favourites. Is I'm going to try not to use as much as I tend to use in a foundation. I tend to pour quite a bit onto the sponge because I like full coverage. So I've done a little bit less today, just kind of like not use as much. But I mean, the tester pot that I had, it was legit like that small, and I got quite a few like days, even though I wore quite a bit, I got quite a few days out of using that little test pot. I probably got a solid week. I was really impressed with it actually. That's why I went out and got this, and hopefully it'll last just as long because I mean it's got SPF 10. It's good because we don't really get a lot of sun up in Scotland, and my skin's not really extremely sensitive on my face, so that's pretty good. Another foundation that I have that I'm yet to try out, I'm quite anxious actually because I think I've gotten the shade like too dark for me, is the Superstay Full Coverage 24-Hour Foundation. I really just wanted to try and find a drugstore like full coverage foundation that was good for my skin type. Like all other foundations I've tried, like drugstore, like proper drugstore brands like Maybeline or Rimmel London, they've always like caked up my skin, or it just doesn't look nice at the end of the day, and you don't want to like have to worry shit like if you put it on in the morning, you don't want to have to worry about 3 o'clock in the afternoon like thinking, shit, it's my foundation, okay, does it look manky, does it look odd? I hope not. So I'm very anxious to try this out because I mean, again, Nikki, she reviewed this and kind of said it's like a dupe for the Huda Beauty Full Frontal Foundation, so fingers crossed. I might just try line it up with like some concealer and stuff like that, like, or maybe save it for summertime when my skin's a little bit warmer and brighter. So yeah, that's my foundations. Now concealer. Now I don't have to talk a lot about concealer because I only use one. It's not the only one I've ever used, but for quite a few years I use the Lasting Perfection Ultimate Wear Concealer by Collection. This is like a fiver in Boots, and I'm trying out the new shade, which is extra fair because I'm a fair person. And right now I'm loving it. It conceals the brow, like it cuts the brows perfectly because it's like full coverage as well. It's really good for like a primer for the eyes. It highlights your under eyes, no caking like at all. It goes perfect like with the M.A.C. I got the highlighting stick from M.A.C, but I ran out of that in November and I wasn't exactly impressed with myself because I kind of should have kept that again for nights out, but started wearing it during the week because I'm an idiot. But oh well. I really like this. Again, it's full coverage. It never has done me any like non-justice. I'd say if you're looking for a cheap concealer that's full coverage, go for this for sure. Now, what you tend to do after concealer is powder, and for powder I like to use a loose powder. I have done ever since I really became introduced to it. So I use the RMCA No Color powder and I love this stuff. This can last me like 3 to 4 months of like hardcore constantly using this. and it's good. It's like £14 in Beauty Bay, people. Like, why wouldn't you want like that? That's a really good price, especially for how cheap it is and how long it lasts. That is really good. And when you're a student like myself and you're on a budget, you want to get products that last you a long time, that are a good price, but also do you justice in quality. Like, you don't want to get like a shade product that's cheap and blue. Oh, I look basic. Like, no, that's not me. Will never be me, even though my room looks pretty basic, but I'm in the justice of like trying to design and decorate it. But anyway, powder, RMCA, no flashback, always does the trick. Now, brows. I like quite a dark brow because I've got quite light brows and like the hairs are really light, so I feel like if I done a really light like shade, it wouldn't look right. I'd rather have a facial expression than a barely facial expression, if you know what I mean. So I use the Anastasia Dipbrow pomade in one of the light shades actually, because I've got quite ashy hair naturally. Like, this isn't my natural colour right now, as you can pretty much see, but I've got like my natural colour before I ever done anything to my hair is like a dirty blonde into light blonde, so it's quite like an ombre. It's weird, it's a weird hair colour, that's why I dyed it. I didn't really like it that much. It looked really dirty, it always looked really dry, and it was just like, no, I'm good. Yeah, I'm gonna change it up a little bit. So I dyed it when I was 16, I went platinum, and yeah, I prefer my hair. I'm just gonna like let my roots come out. But anyway, the taupe pomade is like my favourite thing. I've been again using it since my birthday. One of my sister's friends introduced me to it. Thanks, Katie. I now splash out on like £20 a month on brow stuff because I use a shit ton because I'm an idiot. Now after those things, I like to go in and I like to contour my face. I've been using this bronzer for 3 years now. It's 2018, people, hello. I got this 2015 and I still have the same box. That's like, I used sometimes a shit ton of fucking bronzer, and that's how good this bronzer is I got it so long ago. Look how much I've still got to go. I've still got quite a bit, but like £25. Like, holy shit, people, like this stuff lasts me ages. And it's my holy grail bronzer too. Then after bronzer and all that shenanigans, I like to cut the contour. Oh, my contour looks really dark in this lighting. Oh well. I like to cut the contour with a beauty sponge. So I dig it and cut it, and while it's all baking in shiz, I like to highlight because I like quite powder, like sparkly highlighters. So I feel like if I don't leave the bake there, the sparkles is just going to go over the place and I'll look shiny everywhere. And that's not what you want. You want to highlight the key points on your face. That probably didn't show much highlighter, but well. So I use quite a few highlighters. Now this is probably why my bronzer looks quite dark, so I use quite a dark highlighter, which is quite idiot of me, but well. I like to use the MAC ones, like the extra dimensional shades. So I've got Oh Darling, and one that I love to use constantly, which I've been trying not to use as much because I don't want to like waste it or get rid of it, is Show Gold, which is like probably the closest. It's like so used up it could fall out of the pan, but yeah, it's like a gold highlighter, but it's got like, it's like a chrome type of highlighter because it shimmers pink through it though, so it's quite pretty. And then like for nights out and stuff like that, I love to use my Nicole Guerriero kit. It's my favourite thing in the whole damn world. As you can see, I've touched into my lighter shades quite a bit, and I'm scared I'm going to run out of it soon. Another highlighter I've got, or palette should I say that I've got, is the Glow Sun Dipped kit by Anastasia as well. I like the palette, but oh shite, if I can open it. I can only use realistically 2 shades, these 2 bad boys here. So Moonstone and Summer, because they're the lightest. The other 2 are really dark. like I can use them as like shimmer shades in like an eye look on my eyes. So that's always the good side about highlighters, is they don't have to just be highlighters. You can use them on the inner corner, or you can use them on your eyelids, you can use them on your lips, like on top of a lipstick, if you really want to be creative. Now, after all those shenanigan things, I don't like to wear eyeshadow as often as I used to, but I'm going to show you my eyeshadow palettes anyway and show you kind of like what I like to wear on a night out. So I'm going to show you my very first proper eyeshadow palette that I ever got. It's the Morphe 35F, and I remember when I got this because I was an idiot and got it shipped from the US and didn't look on Beauty Bay because I didn't know Beauty Bay existed at this point in time. So this is it. As you can tell, I haven't really touched into it recently because I'm not a huge shimmer person, so I need to become a shimmer person because I need to kind of dig into this palette. I kind of like to use like these two colors here, and then I loved all like the transition matte shades. Like this color is my favorite. Like I love using these two here to like darken, like if I wanted to do like dark smoky eyes with the shimmers. I loved to do that a lot when I was working in a nightclub. The shimmers were good again, like I said, for working in a nightclub because they shined and I could just show them off really nicely. Now the next palette that I got is the Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia, and I fell in love with that. I just love all the colours, absolutely adore it. Like you just can't go wrong with it. Like I've made several looks from this palette, it's unbelievable. Like I've done like sunsets from this, I've done like nice little cut creases, even though I like still haven't perfected that yet. But yeah, if no one knows you don't have this palette, you need to go and get it because it's such a nice palette. Feels so nice too because it's velvety. Then after that, I believe I got this bad boy. I got my first ever Violet Voss palette because my sister really wanted it, and when my sister wants something, I want something a lot of the time, vice versa. So I got the Holy Grail palette, and this is it here. It's really nice. As you can see, I like this palette quite a bit because I've dipped into it quite a lot. Again, I like the shimmer shades in this because it goes with each of the mattes quite a lot of the time. I like the browns down here quite a bit. Like, are you kidding me? I just like all the mattes, like all of them. You just can't go wrong with them. I've dipped into Toffee, the shimmer shade here, and Cranberry Splash. I've not really used Awesome Sauce and Bat My Eyes as much, but I'm sure at one point I'll dip into them as I get older, or I'll find an event to wear them to. But yes, so after that, I believe it was this one next. I got the Morphe 25A for my birthday from my sister, and I used this for my birthday look. I done a really dark brown, and I mean dark, golden smoky eye. I used the golden shimmer shade here. I used the browns here, here, and here, and here. And I used this as like my transition color. And I created a nice look. I used the Stila Metals Magnificent, the gold one. And I used that and I kind of cut my crease, but then I kind of blended it in with more of the darker shades of browns. I'm really kind of keen to touch this one right now. Might create an eye look for that soon, maybe one day. Maybe just entirely do like a shimmer eyeshadow look. Next is a Jeffree Star product. And this is the Androgyny palette. And I like it so much. I'm scared to touch these two colors, well these three colors should I say, but I will definitely like do a challenge on my channel where you guys have to suggest a color and I'll pick them out the hat. So like if you look up any of the palettes I got that I've suggested and suggest a shade name or a shade color from each of the palettes, then I will create a look from that maybe. Last but not least is the newest addition to my little family. It's a Morphe 39A. I mean, look at this bad boy. I mean, if I take the 25A, holy shiza. So I'm going to open her up because I need 2 hands to open her up and show you this mad thing that is the palette. Now, so far, if I can angle it, okay, angle it on my own. So far I've dipped into these 3 shades and created a nice little look for like work and stuff like that. I've dipped into this because it's quite dark purple. I've not touched any of these shades yet. I've touched quite a lot of the transition colours, just touched the shadow. I tried out the blue because I wanted to see the swatches and this colour down here. I've not really touched any of these. I've not really used the blues, so I've kind of more reverted to this kind of colours. But again, I really want to create like a crazy like challenge where I have to try and make a look with every single palette. Like I have to use them at some point, because I just use certain colours, and I think what's the point of getting a whole palette if you're only going to be using certain colours? The palette is just like pointless, and it's like a waste, and you just, no, you might as well make your own palette and just select the colours that you want, like from Anastasia or Coloured Rain or something like that, you know? Now sometimes another big part of an eye look is eyeliner, kind of like what I'm wearing today. I use, even though I'm not really enjoying it, so I'll go back to, I tend to use Maybeline, I think I've got, yeah, I've got my old one here. I tend to use the Maybelline Matte Waterproof New York, like the Master Ink one. That's my favourite one to use because the brush is like so thin at the end, so it gets you in there precise, and it's just how you want to create your eyeliner. This, however, was suggested to me by one of my friends, and this doesn't smudge, to be fair. It's really good, it's waterproof, but it's the Rimmel London Exaggerate, there we go. How to think there, what was it? Exaggerate eyeliner in black, and the brush is a little weird. It's like the tip of a really weird angled pen. That's the only way I could describe it really for you. But yes, that's the eyeliner I use, and then I don't really use falsies, so I only use mascara for everything. So I use the Colossal Big Shot Volume Express mascara by Maybelline, and it's my favourite because it just makes my lashes look so long and so black, because I've got such blonde eyelashes that you can hardly even tell that I have eyelashes half the time, which is not a good thing. Now next, to usually finish up a look, I don't often wear lipstick, like again I wear it on a night out, but I have several shades all by Jeffree Star because I just think his lipsticks are so good. They last for ages, especially on a night out, like when you want your lipstick to stay in place, like obviously. And I just love it to bits. I'm never gonna go against you, Jeffree. Like I've had a bad highlighter incident from him where the highlighter just was not pigmented at all. But I like the eyeshadow palette that I have, and I'm loving the lipsticks. Got a new one recently, but I'm going to show you all my shades anyway. So one I have is a classic red, which is Red Rum, one of my favourites. I love it with my haircut, it's so nice. I got a nude, it's Celebrity Skin. I wear this sometimes to like work and stuff like that because it's just like a soft lip, you don't want anything crazy, like if you just want to up yourself a little bit. Now this is my new edition, it's from the family collection, and this is Wifey, so it's kind of like a rusty red, so that's really sweet. I like burgundy. And then this is even more of a rustier red, this is Unicorn Blood. And I wouldn't say it's as good as all the other shades. For some reason it's quite streaky sometimes and it doesn't last as long. This is my star sign Leo. It's kind of like a brown, dark nude, and I really like it. It's one of my favourite shades. Let's see what's next. Oh, Gemini. A pinkier version of Leo. I wear this all the time. Like when I used to go down to meet my friends for college at UHI in Elgin, I would always wear this all the time. You can never get me away from it. And then there's probably my favourite shade for wearing on a night out. You'll probably never ever not see me wearing this shade, which is really bad, but oh well. This is Androgyny, and I actually got my mum into this shade because she loves purple, because it's like a deep purpley shade and I love it to bits. Always lasts forever. Best shade I have in my collection. And then I have the Summer Chrome, one of the chrome shades I have in Calabasas. One of my old friends, she kind of said, like, she was sitting down and she was speaking about it. I think she got a shade from there, but she definitely kind of pushed me into getting it, and I kind of thank her, even though we're not friends really anymore. I really like the shade, and I kind of appreciate that she actually pushed me into going for it. Now, another thing that you kind of tend to want for when you're doing your makeup is brushes. Now, I've kind of put my brushes away, so I'm not going to really bother to get them out, but I accidentally got these through the post. There was a mishap with my 3980 palette and another person's order, and because of quite close numbers, they probably got it mixed up and accidentally sent them the wrong way, which is understandable because in the end we both got the products that we wanted. So they, like, whoever obviously got my product got an extra eyeshadow palette and brushes, and then I got the exact same. I got the brushes that they ordered and an eyeshadow palette. So what they had ordered was the Morphe 702 piece, which is basically predominantly an eyeshadow piece, which was quite nice because I actually wanted some eyeshadow brushes, but I got them technically for free, so I'm not really complaining. But they're really good. I kind of like to use them quite a bit. I also have Real Technique brushes and some other here and there like Morphe brushes that I kind of like to use and that I've used to create my looks that all my friends go, oh, you're wearing that again, are you? Which is quite funny. Then yeah. Now to finish a look, usually I don't wear setting spray quite a bit, but when I do, one that I kind of tend to use in general is M.A.C Fix Plus, like the Prep and Primer Fix Plus, and I'm pretty much almost empty, so I need to go get some more of that, which is shit. Like, I love this. I remember when my sister first got it, I fell in love with it. Like, just made my skin look so nice, my makeup look so beautiful, and I ended up getting it myself for my birthday last year. But one I love to wear for nights out especially, and I tried this out beforehand and love it to bits. It's the Urban Decay All Nighter, and it's like, again, perfect for all nighters, for like when you're going out with your friends. You want your makeup to stay all night long, even if someone goes bash or you get knocked or something like that. You want your makeup to stay locked in place like titanium steel, you know. But yes, I think that's pretty much everything, guys. That is my entire makeup collection. That's like 8 shadow shades. I need to count how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 eyeshadow palettes apparently. 2 highlighter palettes. 2 normal highlighters. An eyeliner, mascara, 4 foundations, 2 primers, 1 concealer, 1 eyebrow product, and 1 powder, and 1 bronzer. Got quite a bit in my collection for someone my age and someone who doesn't earn a lot of money quite often. I like to get myself something new every so often. It's seen as a treat, as a reward. Anyway, I'm gonna sign off, guys, so make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and make sure you hit that lovely subscribe button down below, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye!